had written this song called Funny Little Tragedy, which was very different than, and is very different than anything Gov't Mule has ever done. A little more influenced by and akin to like late 70s, early 80s, the beginning of the whole punk new wave kind of, the Attractions and the Clash and Stiff Records. It kind of has a little bit of that vibe, which is nothing, we've never gone down that path before. And so I actually sent him an email and told him what we were doing and that I'd written this song, and it was more akin to his early stuff than anything Gov't Mule had ever done, and did he have any advice on how to capture the vocal sound, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to make it sound like it was back then. He sent me a very long email, but the gist of it was we always used a really cheap microphone, especially in the old days. Their budgets were so low. He said those first records they did in an 8-track studio, they didn't have any expensive mics. And he said, so use like a $100 microphone, which I did, and called him back and said, yeah, it worked great. But from that point forward, I was like, it'd be nice to hear him sing it or sing part of it. I think in the beginning we were just thinking maybe have him sing a verse or something, you know. And a similar thing happened with Dr. John and with Toots from Toots and the Maytals, where there were 2 other songs, one called Scared to Live that we thought about Toots for, and one called Stoop So Low that we thought about Dr. John for. But we still hadn't made the decision to bring any guests onto the playing field. Once we started thinking that way, it kind of made sense to have them sing the entire song instead of just a little cameo. And so once we decided that, we thought, well, let's just do all 11 songs, make a bonus version of each one. So I made a list of each song and who, other than myself, I would love to hear sing it, and started making phone calls. Our hope is to have several shows that multiple guests will show up, and maybe next year being the 20th anniversary, maybe even have a few shows where a lot of guests, and maybe we film for a DVD or something like that. But that's one of the wonderful possibilities that goes along with this record. Ben Harper and myself, and for that matter, Ben Harper and Gov't Mule, have a relationship that goes back to the Horde tour in the mid-90s. I think the first time we played together was at Saratoga, and there was a little side stage where any of the bands and artists and musicians could get together and request time, like an open mic night, and go jam. And so we decided to do that. It was really fun. And then we started jamming together more and more, and then I invited him to be a guest singer and play lap steel on Lay Your Burden Down on the Life Before Insanity record. And that's when we really started getting to know each other very well. I was thinking about who would be the right person to sing the alternate version of World Boss. Ben's voice instantly leapt into my head, and it's a little different for him. He sounds amazing on it, but it's not in some ways what people would expect from him, which is one of the things I love about the new bonus CD, is a lot of the artists, a lot of the guest vocalists are singing songs that are a little different for them. Some of them are absolutely obvious and perfect marriages, but some of them, like with Ben, it's maybe a little more rock than people are used to hearing. I really had a blast doing the symphony thing. I had never done anything with a symphony before, and that was part of the challenge that was appealing to me. And of course, picking from such an amazing catalog of music, my biggest mission was to pick songs that I felt like the symphony would elevate and take somewhere different. But it was really fun, and if we do it again, I'd really be honored. There's some talk about PLQ, which is the Phil Lesh Quintet, myself and Jimmy Herring, Rob Baracco, John Molo, and Phil reuniting and doing some stuff, which I know we're all very excited and hope that it can work out. I think we're a little closer than we were in the way that there's a few new songs floating around. It's a matter of getting everybody psyched to do it and finding the time to do it, because the Allman Brothers only work a small part of the year. And I know in all of our minds, it would have to be as good or better than hitting the note for us to want to do it. We don't. That was a nice watermark for us, and so whatever the final record's going to be should be that or something as good or better.